Hello everybody, welcome to the sound test room. Today we are taking a look at Pure Acid. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a full walkthrough for the entire thing. Must send out a big shout out to Jim Pavlov, the developer who is living in Ukraine and Kiev. I think he's okay at the moment, so yeah, but big shout out to Jim who developed this marvelous app, and also GR16 and also Poison 202 synth as well. Marvelous. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to change the color. I think this color may be a bit better for you guys. So this is a little bit bright and loud, but it kind of fits in with the acid vibe. If we go up here to the top right to these little toaster icon here, opens up the menu. We can choose various things like the Midi and stuff like that, utilities, synchronization. This is also in AUV3, so you can use it. You can use multiple instances in AUV3. Programming is exactly the same, so you're not going to get lost here. So I'm going to go through this pretty slowly so you can understand exactly how this works, how you can program it, make patterns, all sorts of cool stuff. But first of all, let's change this color. I'm going to choose color settings, color scheme. At the moment it's on all yellow, and I'm going to go to dark mode. I think dark mode is probably going to be more pleasant for you to follow along with. But if you thought yellow is better, just give me a shout and we'll go back to yellow. But there are many color options to choose from, and it's, you know, that it doesn't affect the sound. So this little pattern, I've called it Hemlock. It's in my user bank here, which is all these. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to initialize the whole thing, right? So I have a pattern set up called initial blank, and I'm going to tap on this, and there it is. And if I look at my pattern editor here, you'll see that there's no information in the sequencer. The length will be set to 1 bar with or 16 steps if you like. Right, so let's go from quickly top to bottom. There are actually 5 modules, okay, 5 modules available inside Pure Acid. 4 of them you can see here. Bass line, which is this. Sequencer, which is this middle section here, which is sequencer for the bass line. Then drums, which is this section here at the bottom. And then mixer, which is this here. Now, you're allowed to have 3 things on screen at any one time. So depending on what you want to be seeing, the mixer, you can have a mix effects for the bass line and also effects for the drums. They share the same effects, okay? This is different. This is your multi-effects, and it's kind of a touch-on kind of special effect. You can choose whether to send a multi-effect signal to either the drums and the bass line, so that it's going both there now, or you can switch it off. Okay, or have it either or. These are the effects sends, so effects send A and effects send B, so A and B, and also you have it for the drums as well, although the drums are slightly different, so I'll explain them as we go. So let's now go back to our sequencer so we can see our sequencer section here. This is where you program the bass line. There are lots of ways to program the bass line, okay, so one of the ways, and one of the modules that you can't see, is the keyboard module. Now, I have this MIDI'd up to my key step. So I'm just playing my key step, and that's set up in the MIDI here, where you see MIDI in device artorial key step, and you can set yours as you wish. Okay. If we now close any of the 3 that are lit, like for instance drums, the keyboard pops up. And you need to switch, like if I go to edit now and I try and play my, so there's nothing there, and I'm playing my notes in, nothing is happening because you need to engage right. However, you will need some sort of click or metronome to work with if you want to import your notes for your MIDI. So again, we'll cover that way as well, so we might as well do that now. Let's go back to drums, and the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a quick look at the drums. Okay, so first of all you have trigger, and this allows you to hear and choose the sound you want to input first. So we'll go to bass drum 1, and then we'll hit step edit, and I'm going to put 4 kicks in like this. If I now hit this little accent button, I can accent any of these. So I'll accent this first one. Okay. Now your drum sequencer is limited to, well, you can have like loads of patterns. You can have 16 patterns, but you're limited to your 4 bars. Okay, your 1 bar. So 1, 2, 3, 4. But because you can chain patterns together, which we'll also get into, you know, you're okay. Okay, so we'll get into how this works later. I just want this for a actual click track. So we can go back to trigger now, and then I can turn drums off here so I see the keyboard, and I'm going to keep this real simple. So at the moment, pattern, edit, length. Length is 16 steps. I'm going to make this 32, which is basically 2 bars, but you can draw this anywhere from 1 all the way up to 32. Now, you'll see that if you go up to 32, some notes will have appeared. This is because the initial programs actually put something in. So first thing we need to do is take those notes out. Let me just stop the drums. We need to take, excuse me, those notes out of the sequencer. So we can do that by just scrolling along like this and get to a note we don't want and just hit rest. I'm going to just go back there and put a rest on that one. Now we have a completely blank 2-bar pattern. Okay, so you have to do it like this. And I would also, at this point, right now we've got our 2 bars of blank pattern. I'm going to go into where it says initial blank, and I'm going to go save as, and I'll just call it video tutorial, and just save it as that. Now any changes I make to this will be saved, and I'll still have my initial blank to go back to for the next time. So these are kind of useful tips that you should definitely be doing. Okay, right. Let's enter some notes into the sequencer. First of all, I'll use the MIDI keyboard. Okay, so we'll just press play here and make sure right is switched on. Oops. Oh, that's weird. Pattern. Oh, gonna switch it on. Switch right on, so it's tracking along. Sorry, it was switched off. So we can watch it track along. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we've entered our notes into the sequencer. We can switch right off now. Here is your edit step section. Now this works kind of like the old original did, which means that we can have any note that's selected. Right, let's turn our drums back on as well because it looks better than that keyboard. Say for instance this note here that we've got selected, we can move it up an octave, or we could choose the first one and move that up an octave. If we choose a step in between, we can apply a slide like that. Or let's go to maybe this one as well and put a slide up. Let's maybe add some decent sound. So we've entered some notes via MIDI. We can choose any note as well, like for instance, like let's choose the first note, and we can change its pitch here, and you'll see the pitch will appear in this window here. Maybe choose this one as well and change the pitch of that to G. We can also change the length of any note, but because this is mono, it's going to start shifting the pattern around, which is quite cool. So let's choose the, where is it now? The length, step length. Let's add a little bit of distortion. So there's one pattern done. We'll leave that like that, and I'll show you all the ways to enter your patterns in as well in subsequent patterns. So I've showed you how to add a slide. I'll show you how to add another one. Go to a pattern in between two that are adjacent, and this will be a slide up, which is cool. Or we could go like that sort of thing. Choose this one and go slide up to this one. So you've got that kind of double go zip 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 that you used to do. Two waveforms. You also have an LFO, which of course the original didn't. Tuning, LFO, rate. Now I think the LFO is fixed to a sine wave, so or a triangle. But it's nice to run it nice and slow. Okay, so that's nice. Let's add a little bit of delay to that, shall we? So if we go to our mixer, you'll see that we can control a mix between our drums and the mix between our bass line. We can also just switch the drums off. And we're going to send effects send A, which is the delay, to the bassline sequencer, which is this here. Then you can choose to affect the delay here. And the amount is here. You also have a drive, which is more saturation, which is lovely. Now, we can also send some reverb. Or take it out. And we also have, let me just stop that. We also have tons of effects that we could choose. Now, don't forget that these two effects are shared by both the bassline sequencer, the synth part, right? And also the drums. But for each and every single drum, we have independent sends. So I would suggest at this point that you always leave your effects A and effects B turned down, unless your effects B was like, say, for the whole reverb and you wanted it to affect the whole kit. If you leave these two on the drum section here, if you leave these two down, you can control the independent sends with these two buttons here for whatever drum is selected. Okay, so I'll get into that in just a sec after I've explained multi-effects. Okay, so go. Let's change maybe this whole reverb to, and maybe you see, these are all the effects you get, you can choose from to mix and match. Tape delay, or maybe church reverb. Okay, and okay. Now, here's the thing. If we then let's listen to the drums. If we send, let's actually put some other drums in, shall we? Just so it's a little bit more sensible. Oops, I don't want that. I want my sequencer and my drums. I'm going to select, we can select our drums various ways by tapping on them, and that will select the drum to be put in next. Or you can use drum select, which will scroll along the bottom, and I've chosen clap. Then we can go to edit, and let's put some claps in here. And let's now copy this pattern. Oh, thanks, Jim. Thank you very much. Bless you. No, I won't copy that pattern. I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's go back to our effects now. So if we go to our mixer and we see our drums, we can bring these back in if we like. If we apply this effect A, which is the delay here to the drums, it will affect all the drums. So, okay, and then not a good idea for kick drums, that kind of thing. However, if we go to our drum select here and we select our bass drum, for instance, we know we've got that accent on, and it's, if we just want to apply the delay to the bass drum, you'll see the clap remains unaffected. And if we go along to where it says clap here, this one, and we want to apply the reverb to it, we just, and then we can, so go back to kick and take the deck off. That's how you apply drums. That's how you apply effects to each individual drum. I wouldn't, if you turn these two up here, it's going to send them everywhere. Okay, so you also have solo, which is all cool performance tools. Now you also have for this, let's say if we go with this pitch looper, the multi-effects are going to apply kind of touch effects, special DJ type effects, performance effects to either or both or none, but there's no point, there's nothing will happen, of the bassline sequencer, this side of it, or also the drums, which is this side of it, but it's independent of these two effects. All right, so it looks like it's not, it looks like this is the drums and that's the bassline. It's not. The bassline and drums are these two effects. The multi effects are different again. So that was the pitch looper. We could maybe have, see, we've got a distortion or stereo flanger, for instance, right? So let's send the stereo flanger just to the bass line. We switch off multi-effects on the MFX hit. So we switch MFX off on the drum channel. And now all we're going to do is send that stereo flanger to the bass synth. But the drums will be unaffected. Let's switch it back on and off, and now that's going to affect the drums. And now it's going to affect both. And now it will just hold. Right, now on the multi-effects you'll also see the thing that says bassline. If we switch this to bassline now, this gives you cutoff and resonance, cutoff and envelope, cutoff and decay, cutoff and accent, envelope and resonance, envelope and decay, envelope and accent. You see it's moving across what we've got at the top, cutoff and resonance. So now you'll see that these two, so X and Y, like this, and that means we can perform with the most used in acid music things, which was the cutoff and resonance. Let's swap the distortion up. Let's give it some boost. Okay, so the basic operation is very straightforward. All you need to do is mess around with it. So let's go back to our sorry, not our drums, our sequencer now. So we've got, go to pattern, your drums, and we're in pattern in here, and we've got one pattern. Okay, so one pattern. Let me just quickly explain what these are along the top. pattern copy is obviously, it is what it is. So we copy this and then we paste, and now we've pasted pattern 1 into pattern 2. So now they'll be exactly the same. Let me turn it on and play. It's identical. Let me just switch hold off. That's better. Go back to our sequencer. So now we've got an exact copy of pattern 1 and pattern 2 in the sequencer. We can make some edits now, but first of all, this here is as transposed. So listen, we've just transposed up 1 semitone. But if we go back, that's still at our original key. So good way to transpose. All right, so let's take that back down. So now they're both identical. Let's go to length. So I'm pretty sure that we can adjust the length of patterns independently. Well, we shall see, shall we? So I'm going to take this down to something like 8. And then I'm going to go back to pattern 1 and see length. So, right. So you can have independent pattern lengths for each of the patterns as well. So that's super handy. So now pattern 2, which we've just adjusted, is just going to be this. And if we're in length and use our data wheel, go back to our pattern. Go back to here. Let's put it back up to our 32, yeah? Still 1 semitone up on this. So I'm gonna... Now, other ways to manipulate the pattern. So now we've got the same pattern in 1 and the same pattern in 2. If we go to the pattern we want to edit, let's go to edit. There are tons of things we can do here. Now we have 1 level undo. So don't we worry. We can reverse it, which will basically reverse the order of the note. So which that sounds really good actually. We can vary it, so it's a variation. But then don't forget we've got, there's a thing you have to do, no undo found, so I wouldn't worry, but that's fine. But what we can do now is maybe vary it again. And we could see this one. Let's take that down. And go back to this. I'm going to lengthen this one. So now we've got, let's add another pattern, but this pattern's going to be blank. Switch the drums off a minute. So this pattern will be blank now. So if we go into edit, there's nothing there. Here's another cool thing we can do. Let's set our, oh, this is editing the note. Sorry, our pattern length. So let's go to length. Let's set it to 32, just to be on the, you know, the thingy. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go with this comp, which is composer, not compressor. And here is where you can choose, you can ask Pure Acid to build a pattern for you. And of course you can adjust the pattern as you wish. You know, anytime you've put anything in, you can adjust that pattern. Right, so look, we're in C. Okay, that's fine. We'll leave it in C, but we can, you know, we can choose any key we like. Doesn't really matter. We'll leave it in C for the sake of this. Then you have your different, it's in C minor now, the Aeolian, but you can go through, there's loads, lots and lots of them that you can make minor pentatonic. Let's go with minor pentatonic. This is what it's going to do, all notes, or all notes in gate, or all notes in length, and all notes, and let's go with, I don't know, all notes and length. And this will, as soon as we hit generate now, this will generate a new pattern for us based on the information right, or based on the information we've just given it there. So generate. Okay, so look, it's done it. Right, so we can close that now, and it's generated this pattern for us. Sounds pretty cool, eh? I don't know. Then we could maybe vary it. That sounds even better. So now we've got 3 patterns. That's pretty cool. That actually sounds really good. So, okay. Let's do one more pattern. All right. Let's go to pattern. Let's go to pattern 4. Again, let's leave it blank. Let's go to edit. Let's leave the length for this one on 16. So just 4 bars. So it would be like a kind of a little fill. I don't know. And let's, let's add something super simple in, but with MIDI. So we're going to play, and I'm just going to record something. So remember what we have to do. Let's switch off drums so our keyboard appears. Let's switch on right. So now we can enter notes via our MIDI keyboard. Okay. So that's cool. Let's switch our drums back on. Let's make some adjustments here, maybe. Let's put another note in here. Note. Go to this one and add a slide. Take that up an octave. We can control the gate length of each note here. It's here. So nice. We can also adjust the swing. But you'd hear it more on drum swing, so we don't need to worry too much about overall tempo. So let's go into more acid territory then. Okay. So we've got 4 patterns, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. We can select these patterns manually. We want to be able to set up these to play as a song. So I maybe want this to, yeah, it's AUV3, Tim. You could use it as an AUV3. So each, you know, and it works exactly the same. You program it the same way, exactly, sort of thing. So it'll also trigger via MIDI as well if you've got like Zoya or something. Right, anyway, we're going to add some more drum patterns. So we've got this kind of pattern 1 here, but I don't have any other pattern. If I go to pattern, I don't have any other patterns. They're all kind of empty. If I select pattern 2, now, oh, I think there's something in pattern 2. Let's play. Oh no, nothing. So just this in pattern 1. So nothing in pattern 2. Okay. And there might be a little bit too much of that delay on the bass, and we'll turn that down a tiny bit. Okay, so sequencer. So again, it's the same kind of thing. You go with pattern, to select the pattern, and we know there's something in pattern 1. We've just been playing it. So I think the best thing to do is copy this pattern. So we can copy this pattern and into pattern 2. And all we need to do is the pattern that we're selected on, this one, we go copy, select the pattern where you want to copy it to, and then just hit copy again and it will paste it into there. So in this pattern now, we have, thanks Tim, in this pattern now, nothing in this one again. But we can make some changes now to this pattern. So go to trigger, choose what you want to add in. Well, I'm going to add in some hi-hats. Okay. And oops, sorry. I'm just gonna go to step edit now. Now I can record these in as well. So I'm gonna go to step edit, but I'm just gonna put them. I'm just gonna put all these in like that, like this. So we've got this kind of, you know. Sounds pretty dull at the moment. And these are all accented. So I'm gonna yellow is accented, so vary them in the volume a bit now. Just for fun, let's change the pattern. Let's put some swing onto those hi-hats. Hit swing. And now we've got a bit of swing going on the hi-hats. Go to pattern. I'm going to copy this. Go to 3 and paste. Oh, and undo won't work for this. Right, so I'm gonna have to. I pasted me blank patterning knob. Right, so I'm gonna select pattern 1. I'm gonna copy, and I'm just gonna paste that in, and just quickly add those hi-hats back in. It'll only take a sec. So where to be going now? We'll go trigger, hi-hats, step edit. I'll just fill them all in like this. Add a few accents to some of them. Go to my swing. It's already on swing, so it should be pretty close. Okay, so let's go to our pattern again. And pattern 2, I'm going to copy, go to 3 and paste. Now I've got it in, and now I can add some more bits and pieces. But I don't have to step edit everything. What I can do is use the tape record function and literally just play these in. So if I go to trigger now and choose maybe. And we have different drums by the way, not just limited to. So you have 2 bass drums, 2 snares, low tom, high tom, low tom, high tom, low, congas, rim shot, clap. Cowbell, that's some sort of shaker maraca or something maybe. Hi-hat, open hat, crash cymbal and ride cymbal. If we hit this little drum set here, it allows us to change some of these sounds for some of the drums, okay? So quite a few of them actually. You can change out different ones. Maybe be a bit 606s, 808ish, that kind of thing. 909ish, I don't know. You know, probably a few different drum flavors if you like. So we can record in manually now just by choosing the drum like this, or whatever we want to record in. But I'm going to, like at the moment, I'm going to make sure that that's accented, and I'm going to boost it. And make some adjustments to the sound, so and maybe tune it down a little bit as well. I'm going to switch tape record on, play it, and now I can just, let you see the recorder's flashing, I can just add my notes in. So, awesome. And while it's recording, I can tap anything else. And whatever drum you're selected on, right, all these are independent. They changed. These drum parameters are for each individual drum. So for instance, let's give that a bit of maybe some of that reverb we put in there earlier. So let's go to our mixer and let's put a bit more of that stereo delay on there. Now, here's the cool part. We've looked at programming the thing. We've kind of looked at how to program the sequencer. Well, we've got 4 patterns, and I think also if we go to patterns on our drums, we've got 3. I don't think there's anything in 4. That's okay, actually. Let's leave 4 empty, and let's just work with 1. So we'll go back to pattern 1. Okay, this is song mode. This is how you get into song mode. It's a bit strange, but it works fine. So first of all, what you have to do is you long hold like this until that changes to that, and then you drag along like that, and now this is in song mode. So what will happen is every bar, every 4, every 1 bar, this is going to change patterns. Well, it will be. Oops. Now, as soon as you touch it, it takes it out of song mode. So I'm going to go through that again, right? So we'll do this. This is in song mode, and the same for the drums. This is now in song mode. Okay, so at some point we're going to get a blank pattern. Don't forget, some of these are 2 bars long. Now you're thinking, right, so this is all a bit very strange. Let's just get out of song mode by just tapping on a pattern. It's actually not. It's quite sensible. Now you'll see that we only have 1 bar of drum pattern, and on these we have 2, 2, 2, and 1. This can get very strange if you want your patterns to change. When you are in, oh God, I could stop doing it. When you're in pattern mode, right? So pattern mode, the data dial determines the length, the amount of bars that these will play. So pattern mode, data dial, you'll see a little 2 appear at the top here now. 2, okay. So this is actually, theoretically, this is actually 4 bars, because don't forget our pattern length is 32. So just keep a track on what you're actually, your lengths are, right? And we know this is only 1 bar. So if we set now this one here, which works exactly the same way, when we're in pattern mode, the data wheel controls the amount of times that pattern will change before it changes in song mode. So we'll set that to 4. We'll go here and we'll set that to, sorry, I'm changing the wrong one. We'll set that to 4. We'll change this one to, leave that on 2. Okay, we'll go to this one and set that on 4. I think this one as well. Yep, that was 32. We'll set that to 2. We'll go here and we'll set that to 4. Because don't forget, these are only one. Oh, look, I've set it too much. I'm going to go back 1. And our 4th one here, I think, is just 1 bar, 16. So we just, let's set that to, let's leave that play once, and also let's leave that blank just to play once as well. So this will be like our fill. It'll play one time, there'll be no drums, and then it'll all jump back together, and it should all theoretically be all set to be the same, change at the same time. But we should see it change at the same time. So remember, in pattern, we want to put our sequencer and our drums into song mode. They're both independent. So long hold, strike along there like this. Long hold, strike along there. And now we can just start. There we go. Awesome. So that worked perfectly. So important thing all the time, save. If you do not save and you close the program, you will lose everything you've done, and that's heartbreaking. Now I'll show you how to, like, this is pretty much it actually, guys. To be fair, I've kind of covered most of the things apart from like doing the deep dive on it, but you can see how the drum programming works. For every single drum you select, you have these independent controls here. Total accent will add a slight volume boost to the steps you select. It has nothing to do with adding notes in, but if you say add total accent on those last three, anything that you add on any drum will be slightly accented on the last three there. It doesn't have anything to do with actually accent. Flam is controlled. If we hit flam here and then hit flam here, you'll see 50. By default, it's 0, so you want to be making sure that the flam amount is up. That's like a little ratchety thing you can add to your fills. I probably should do a completely separate independent one for the drums. But anyway, it's pretty straightforward. There's tons of stuff to get you going anyway. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think I'm just going to play this while you say ta-ra to each other. I want to say thank you very much for joining me this evening, where we took a pretty good look round of Pure Acid by JimAudio, and we send our love out to Jim as well, who's in the Ukraine. And don't forget, if you're recording in via Midi as well, switch one of these off so your keyboard view pops up, and then you can hit right. You can also, by the way, you don't need to use this. You can record your Midi data in via this keyboard as well. Okay, you don't need to use a MIDI keyboard. So there are lots of ways to get things in as we sing. We can, add variation. We can generate patterns with the composer. All sorts of cool stuff. Don't forget, these are important, your transpose. One thing I do want to show you is, you may be thinking the way to set up so we're in song mode now, but now we're out of song mode. Now we're in song mode, but only chaining 2 patterns together. Let me get my drums back. If you want to be chaining more, like the 12 here, you want to be going like this, and then you want to drop down, and then you can move backwards and forwards for the amount that you want to put in. Anyway, that is basically Pure Acid, and then you can just have a lot of fun doing the acid vibe. Thank you so much, so much for thanks, Brian. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. And don't forget, you can have a lot of fun changing all the colours up as well. There's some really cool stuff that you can put in. Pink and blues are actually really nice. So I'm going to play this little thing, and yeah, I'll make sure I'm in song mode for both. So I'm going to go to pattern and make sure that those are done like this. Make sure that I'm highlighted like this, and it should be all good to go. So thanks, Hubert. I'm really pleased. Nice. Thanks. Thanks, Wal. Thank you very much. Bless you all. Thank you. It's nice. You just got to have a mess around it. But at first, it does look a little bit like, ooh, step editing's fun when you're in edit mode, and you can just choose the note, and you can go, oh, I might put I'll just change the pitch of this one. What's this one? No. So that might sound quite nice. And then you maybe want to go with some that are really close together, like this one, and slap a slide in there. It's cool. You can have a lot of fun. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Anyway, guys, brilliant. I'll see you guys later. Let's go back to our patterns now, see what's going to go on. Should be just running in song mode.